today we're talking about today really we're talking about a very broad topic, and we're going to throw bullets and basically when we do a talk like this, whatever catches your eye, you write it down, then you can talk to us more in depth later on. We do consultations and stuff like that, so if there's things that you want to explore, whatever it is, and that we don't go into depth on it today, please feel free to come and talk to us, because this topic is like this big and we only have this much time. So cleansing is a gigantic, oh thank you, I was about to dance. Cleansing is a gigantic part of health, because if you think about it, the toxic load on our bodies is huge. And so toxins come from all different places and different sources. We're going to talk about that. But cleansing out your body and keeping your body clean just allows it to function at a much higher level. And when we talk about weight loss, which is a great time for any sort of weight loss programs, we're going to talk about cleansing first. Because when you clean out your body and you reduce the toxic load, when you reduce the size of your body, you're not just increasing the concentration of toxins, if that makes sense. So we're going to talk about the different types of cleanses and what you can do and how you can make changes this year. And the process here is that if you do the exact same things as you've always done, you're going to get the exact same results. So you want to make a change, do something different. And when you do something different, it may not always turn out the way you want it to, but you're going to create change in your body. And I make that very clear that change isn't always comfortable. And so some people think, well, I'm just going to lose weight and I'm going to feel great and I'm going to be more energetic and all that kind of stuff. Sometimes to lose weight, you have to go through an uncomfortable phase where you don't feel as good. For example, in a cleanse, you're pulling all the toxins that build up out of your body into the bloodstream first, and then either out of your sweat, or maybe it's out of your urine or your feces or whatever it is. Well, when you bring that up out of the stored places, you feel worse. You feel toxic. You know, you kind of feel almost like you're getting the flu or something. That's not a bad thing. That's actually a good thing. That means that you're pulling up all that junk and getting it out of your body. So if you give up right as you start to feel bad, you're not going to get to the other side. And same with exercise programs, same with mental programs, same with addiction programs. So the process here today is that we're going to talk a lot about just general stuff. And so save questions until the end, if you would. So starting new habits to get new results, we know that starting new health habits is an opportunity to explore yourself, to explore every aspect of what your body can do. Because the ultimate premise here is that God made you to be healthy. God made you to have incredible metabolic health, incredible health in all ways. He made us to cure cancer. He made us to cure heart disease. He made us to cure diabetes, all the various things. So as long as you get out of your own way, your body naturally moves to a healthier state. Does that make sense? So the process is not to put you into the perfect bikini-ready body, per se. It's to move you to a healthier state. And how long does that take? 20 days, 30 days, 50 days, 90 days? It doesn't take any amount of time. It's an ongoing venture. You have to do it on an ongoing basis. We recommend that you do at least one cleanse every year. At least one cleanse. Now, how many cleanses are there? Hundreds of cleanses, different types of cleanses. We'll talk in more depth, but just to name a few, there's cardiovascular cleanses to clean out your arteries and get rid of all the gunk that builds up. There's a gallbladder cleanse, which if you've never experienced a gallbladder cleanse, is the grossest thing on the planet. You'll see literal stones come out, and you can see them. They're stones from your gallbladder. Cleansing out all that stuff. Cellular cleanse, which is what is like kind of the most general one, which pulls all the toxins out of your intracellular space and out of your fat cells. So these are just types. There's organ cleanses like liver cleanses and pancreas cleanses and so forth that are slightly different. There's digestive cleanses. So all these cleanses can be done. They don't have to be done all at the same time, obviously, but you can do a cleanse, take a few months off, do a different type of cleanse, take a few months off, and all these will generate positive results over time. That makes sense? So losing weight, obviously for many of us is the goal, but losing weight is just a process of becoming more healthy. And so when we lose weight, we're really talking about losing weight to help your body be more effective, be more energetic, be functioning at a higher level, not necessarily so that I look better. That's the premise of all these weight loss programs. Do these weight loss programs work? Sure, if you stay with them. But what percentage, anyone take a guess, what percentage lasts longer than 1 year? If you lose the weight and the weight stays off more than 1 year? 5%. Close, 3%. So 3% across the board, 3%. Why is that? Is that even people that buy into these things, they put their best effort and then they realize, man, I don't want to eat these shakes like for the rest of my life. I don't want to have this sort of terrible diet for the rest of my life. And so they revert back to their old self. So the goal is to lose weight, but on a natural level. You may do a program initially, like a cleanse or like a weight loss program, but then you want to integrate into eating healthy, that's good for your body, that you like to do, that's easy to do, that's feasible to do. That makes sense? So all of these things have to be done on 3 levels. They have to be done physically, so your physical body, like exercise and movement, and chiropractic and massage. They have to be done chemically through your nutrition, but also to prevent toxins from coming back into your body. So it's great that you cleanse your body out, but if you're still putting all the bad stuff in, you just become more toxic again, right? So chemically and then mentally. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about toxins, but who here thinks that sugar is a toxin? So it's very common to say it's a toxin. It's actually not. It's a food. It's in lots of things. But in high doses, it becomes poisonous to our body. That's diabetes, right? And so when your body has to constantly decrease the sugar levels, it becomes sort of like a poison. So it really is a toxin on some levels, even though it's a food substance. Eating too much of any one thing is bad. And so, moderation is the key. I always say that I have never met anyone who's not addicted to sugar. It's one of the most addictive things on the planet. It's not evil to say, I'm addicted to sugar. I get it. We're all addicted to sugar in some ways. Those companies make it super addictive. They found that, and this is a little off topic, but they found that integrating 3 things can make you an instant addict. Those 3 things are fat, salt, and sugar. So what's a potato chip? What's a French fry? Why do they put sugar in hamburger meat? Like McDonald's, and they put sugar in the hamburger. You don't put sugar in the meat. Fat, salt, sugar, right? So it's addictive instantly. Creates neurologic changes in your brain that makes it instantly addictive. When you eat it, the cascade of electrical impulses in your brain is very much like cocaine. They've done the scans. Very much like cocaine. Fat, salt, sugar. So knowing that, you can now say this potato chip is addictive. So if you eat it, at least you know what you're eating, right? So creating new habits have to be on those 3 levels. And this is where I see big problems all the time. People say, I'm on a new exercise program. Great. I'm doing new things physically. I'm on what do they call it? They have the games, the workout thing. I can't think of the name, but it was sort of a craze for a little while. And the exercises these people were doing were crazy. Squats and kip-up, pull-ups and all this kind of stuff. It's not boot camp, CrossFit games. They have the games and stuff like that. Well, it was great. Boon for our practice. There are tons of people injured all the time. So I said, yeah, by all means, go do more CrossFit. Get your friends in there. But the truth is, they hadn't committed mentally or chemically. So they were going and they were changing physically, but you got to change physically, chemically, mentally. If you want any habit to stick, you got to make a change physically, mentally, chemically. So those 3 things, if you're going to make any health habit, and hopefully all of you will decide to do a cleanse of some sort, we'll help you with it. Whether it be a cellular cleanse, which is a 30-day cleanse. You eat normally, but you just take the enzymes and the capsules which pull all the junk out of your body. Or whether it be an organ cleanse, or whether it be a gallbladder cleanse, or whatever you decide to do, you have to commit to it mentally, physically, chemically. Make sense? So let's talk about cleanses. So obviously, and I do a whole class. If you go on YouTube, we have a channel on YouTube. Just look up Dr. Ross, Dr. Alan Ross on YouTube, and I talk about our toxic world and all that kind of stuff. I'm not trying to make everyone fearful. I'm not saying you have to live in a bubble or have a space helmet to go out or anything like that. But it is helpful to know that toxins exist almost everywhere. There's many, many categories. I put down some of them here: poisons, non-foods, heavy metals, pesticides, excitotoxins, also biological toxins, also toxins within other aspects. But the premise is that we live in a very toxic world. And there is toxins that get inside us at all times. They get in through our skin. So if you take a shower and there's gunk in the water, it's going to eventually get inside you. The air we breathe, certainly the food we eat. Medications is a huge one. I talk out about the flu shot. And I say I'd recommend that people don't get the flu shot, not because it doesn't work, which the government came out and said it doesn't work, but because it contains all sorts of stuff, aluminum and preservatives, and it contains antibiotics, and it contains all this other gunk that is not just eaten and our digestive tract can weed it out, it's injected right into our bloodstream. And so those kind of things will accumulate over time. They found that aluminum is the major metal that found in neurodegenerative disease like Alzheimer's. When they do the whole autopsies, they found aluminum plaque within the brains of Alzheimer's patients and neurodegenerative patients. Where does that aluminum come from? Could it come from cooking pans and stuff like that? Sure. Could it come from aluminum cans? Sure. Could it come from other source of aluminum? Yes. But the number one source is in medications, specifically injectables, which is aluminum is used as a stabilizing factor. So knowing that, cleansing that stuff out of your body becomes more and more important. So a cellular cleanse is the easiest one to do, and that's something that's going to take out those toxins on a cellular level. And there's two places your body hides toxins. One is in the fat cells. That's the number one place. The reason why it puts toxins into fat cells is that fat is a great insulator. It's not just insulator for toxins, it's insulator for temperature, it's insulator for water, it's insulator for lots of things. So if you have a ton of toxins, your body actually creates more fat cells to insulate more. Because as long as you picture like a toxic waste, if we have toxic waste, they got to build a big hole and put a huge amount of cement down there and then put the toxic waste in there and fill it up with cement, try and bury it deep so that it never gets into the groundwater and all that stuff. Well, your body kind of does that in the body, or you're inside your body, by putting the toxins away and then putting fat cells all the way around it. So a cellular cleanse will kind of reach in there and start pulling the toxins out. In a really toxic person, it may take several cycles to get to get most of it out. So fat cells is one source of toxic load. The second is intracellular space, and the most common thing there is in the muscle cells, because the muscle cells have the most space. So it'll kind of put toxins in there. That's where we hide lactic acid. So when you have a muscle that's overworked and it has a lot of lactic acid, that's where it hides it, intracellular space. But those contain stuff like oxidation molecules, or molecules that cause oxidative damage, that kind of stuff. So a cellular cleanse reaches in there, pulls it out. And there's two parts to a cellular cleanse. The first is getting it out of the cells or out of the fat and into the bloodstream. And the second is to get it out of your body. So the best cellular cleanses have activated charcoal, which binds everything and then goes right through your kidneys or right through your digestive tract and out. So cellular cleanses are constantly doing that. And there's two ways to do it. Do it in a short dose, like a 30-day program, or do it ongoing. Just do it forever. I'm more leaning on the 30-day program. That's just what I do. And so we have those cellular cleanses. You can still eat. You can still, it's not a fast of any kind, but it will pull out those toxins in that level. Now, I talked about the organ cleanses. They're all kind of different. The one thing that, the one type of cleanse that I recommend people do is a liver cleanse. The liver is your biggest organ that helps with all sorts of stuff. It takes stuff, toxins, substances in, changes them, and recalibrates things, and it's a very hard-working organ. Liver cleanse is a fairly easy cleanse to do. Again, a 30-day cleanse is usually what I recommend. Milk thistle is another herb that you can take that helps cleanse out the liver. So that's another one. Gallbladder is very common that stones exist in gallbladder. In fact, I would guess that every one of you has stones in their gallbladder. Gallbladder is, I think, a 2-day cleanse, right? Or 3-day?
It's actually liver and gall.
Oh, it's both. One. Okay, so, but that one, a little tougher to do because it's a large amount of fat. The gallbladder stores bile, which breaks down fat. When we eat fat, the gallbladder releases that bile and it emulsifies the fat, makes the fat digestible. So to open that gallbladder up all the way, we take a lot of oil in there. It opens the gallbladder completely and then the stones can come out. And then they're going to shoot through to the other end. And so when you catch them on the other end, then you'll see all the stones. And they're unique color, so you can't miss them. Colon cleanse, the best way to do a colon cleanse, to be honest, is just to do hydrotherapy. Go up to the, spray it with a hose, basically, and you will clean, mechanically clean the colon. You can do a colon cleanse, and for people that have ever done a scope, like a sigmoidoscope or something, they give you this disgusting mixture of stuff to kind of clean you out, and it will clean you out. I mean, clean you out, but very uncomfortable, not exactly healthy either. So. Best way to do that is hydrotherapy. Heavy metal cleanse we recommend for kids, especially that have gotten a ton of vaccinations, because there's a ton of heavy metals in those vaccinations. And that's a fairly easy cleanse as well. It just drops under the tongue and they take it for either 30 or 60 days. Cardiovascular cleanse for people that have heart disease. This is, again, a fairly easy one. You can either do it as an injected into your bloodstream or oral. And so a chelation cleanse is enzymes that break up the fat deposits on your arteries or on your veins, that kind of stuff. Not on your veins. It doesn't break it on the veins. It breaks on the arteries. Yep. So let's talk about fasting. Oh, sorry. So for people with, the digestive tract is almost like an organ in itself. So the digestive tract is a microenvironment, and the microenvironment is of bacteria. And everybody kind of knows this now. When I started teaching 20 years ago, I would say, yeah, you have approximately 1 trillion cells and approximately 3 trillion bacteria. And they'd say, what? Oh, bacteria? No way. I don't have any bacteria in my body. I've got to go on antibiotics right away. And it's like, no. These are good bacteria, friendly bacteria. They help digest our food. They help regulate water. They do all those kind of things. They also help create an environment that makes no yeast or fungus in your digestive tract. So cleaning that out and putting in new bacteria is a very helpful thing, especially if you have digestive problems, including heartburn or what we call GERD, or if you have you're not as regular as you should be, that kind of stuff. And so that's a process, a 30-day process that we call a repair vite. So it's enzymes that go in there as you take it with probiotics, which are lots of good bacteria, and then it sort of flushes out. You don't have to go to the bathroom every 10 minutes, but it does sort of kill off the yeast and the fungus, especially taken with apple cider vinegar, which is a great anti-yeast, antifungal agent if you've ever tried that, as well as some other things that you can do. Garlic, one of the best natural anti-yeast, antifungal agents. If you eat natural, even raw garlic, that kind of stuff. So, and I know Stacy's going to talk more about foods, but so that's another type of cleanse that you can, think about doing. Whether you do a cellular cleanse first and then change your diet up a little bit and then do maybe a repair vite or a kidney cleanse or not a kidney, a liver cleanse. Totally up to you. There's no right or wrong way to do that, but doing that is going to have positive effects on how your body functions. Make sense? So fasting, I just want to end and pass the mic here to Stacy on, but just end on fasting. Fasting has some fascinating research going on. So fasting, for most of us, we think of Gandhi and doing 30-day, fasts and only water and that kind of stuff. I don't mean that. I mean fasting for half a day, or fasting for a whole day, or fasting for a couple of days. And it means that you're still taking in water and maybe a little bit of food, but what it does is it sort of cleans out your digestive tract so you don't have any residual food in there. And then it allows your metabolism to kick up. So the mitochondria are those parts of the cells that create energy for us. Turns out when there's not a steady flow of sugar, that causes two things. One is they start reaching out to the fat stores to get sugar, to get energy. So that creates that new pathway. The more you use a pathway, the more prevalent that pathway becomes. So that's the first thing. And the second thing is the mitochondria themselves become more efficient. They can create more ATP or more energy. I don't know if I'm going back to your physiology days from your school, but your mitochondria become more effective when you fast every so often. So fasting doesn't mean coffee and other stuff as well. It means nothing. So just water goes into your system. So usually what I recommend is if you're doing any sort of cleanse, like a cellular cleanse, you take 1 day a week and you make that a fasting day. Now, for me, it's easier because I'm very active and I work out and all that kind of stuff. For me, it's easier just to say no food from about 9 o'clock at night all the way to dinner time the next day. So we'll eat at, maybe 7 or something like that. And so that way it's almost a full day, not quite, but it works, So tons of research on that. And even for people that are not doing any cleanse, but they want to start something new, I recommend you do 1 full day of fasting. 1 per week, 1 day per week, and see how it goes. My experience with that has been positive to no end. People go, it's amazing how much more energy I feel, and I thought I'd be like sluggish, and I thought I'd be starving, but 1 day is not that big of a deal. I mean, your body can survive a lot of time as long as you're taking water. That makes sense? Just in terms of that, also decreases insulin levels, which helps with blood sugar. Again, blood sugar is a balance of your fat cells and your storage, as well as your incoming sugar. So helps with insulin and specifically your cell's reaction to insulin, because whenever you take in sugar, the insulin spikes. So if you're not taking in sugar all the time, the insulin kind of levels out and the body doesn't react so much to that. Repairs cells, reduces the belly fat, all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to pass the mic here to Stacy. She's going to talk about all the other good stuff in there.
The thing that I really want you to focus on as you're starting to make some new habits for yourself this year is think about, a lot of people want to jump in and change everything all at once. That's why people make New Year's resolutions and often they're not completed by week 2, right? And that might even be the case for many of us in here. So rather than trying to change everything at once, my recommendation for you is to pick 1 or 2 things that you know are maybe a struggle for you. Maybe it's soda, maybe it's eating out too frequently or having fast food. And really trying to change that where you're limiting the amount that you're doing it to the point where you're actually eliminating it altogether. So that's part of what our work is here for you when we help you with the detox and also with our weight loss programs. We really kind of help give you the tools to help you push past what you kind of know what to do. Don't we all know sort of basically what to do in terms of eating well? But why do we struggle? There's lots of reasons. Sometimes we don't actually have a great framework of food and what to eat. A lot of times we hear messages all over the place of what's healthy, what's not healthy. So when you decide that you're ready to make some changes, if you do want to do the detox program, we have a coaching that goes along with that to really talk to you. Here's some shopping lists of what to get. Here's a framework of foods that you should be eating in a day and what specifically for you, what amount of food should you be having. So a lot of us don't know that because we're all built differently, right? And we all burn at a little bit of a different pace. And so that's what the point of doing our program. But as you can see, Alan already mentioned sugar. We know that's one of the #1 addictions. We know it's the trigger for a lot of weight gain, for feeling lethargic, maybe feeling foggy-headed. So the more that we can actually reduce our sugar intake, maybe learn more about glycemic index and what, even with fruits and vegetables, you know, some are on that higher level of sugar. So the more we keep that glycemic index up, that we're always going to struggle with our best health. So that's something that we help you look at. Also processed foods, we know that, right? We know fast foods, we know fried foods, they're not healthy for us. So those are the things that, to the best of your ability, as you start to make these changes, you want to start pulling those out. And doing the intermittent fasting is actually a big part of making that happen for you, because your body gets that break to start healing. And then as we start to heal the body, we no longer have the cravings for those type of foods. Yeah, so it's kind of interesting the way that process works. Oils and fats. You know, there's a big difference between good fats and bad fats, and I'll talk to you a little bit more about the good fats. So they're not all evil, but there's many of the oils that you might be using in your own household. You can look at the list that we've listed here in terms of vegetable oils and canola and safflower. My recommendation, and one thing we can provide for you, is I can actually even come into your home and help you kind of clean out your cabinets and look at things that are working well for you, go to the grocery store and help you shop, because a lot of times we don't realize that some of these things are toxic. And a lot of these oils, when you heat them, actually create, the molecular components change, so that actually becomes toxic to our body. So that's another thing to learn. Yeah. Conventional dairy, you know, we talk a lot in here, and some of you in here I know have worked with me about the essential components to organic food, to grass-fed food, to free-range food. And that same thing goes with milk. You know, you do not want to be drinking the conventional milk that has a lot of hormones already in it. So all that junky food that's fed to those cows just sort of gets passed on to us. So that would be maybe a very simple change that you can make in your life right now, is to move out of the conventional type of milks and foods to a more organic, free-range type products. You know, and they are more, I mean, I know people complain about them being more expensive, but the truth is, the more you start eating like that, eating more clean and healthy, you actually stop buying the other junk food. So you really aren't spending more money. You know, and I'll have Cheryl. She's one of my clients right now, and she can talk to that when we get towards the end of the program or end of the talk. So grains and nightshades, those are the other two things. You know, we don't want to spike our insulin levels, and those two things can do that. And we're talking more like the white rice and flours, the cookies and the muffins and the things like that. And the more you spike that insulin, then it starts to erode the gut lining, and that's, you've heard the term leaky gut. That's where it comes from. The idea is that literally holes get eroded in the gut lining, and the food is going, rather than going through the digestive system, now it goes into the bloodstream. And that's what creates a lot of other problems that people suffer from. So we'll talk about how to heal that as well. And then there's some things you can do personally, and then there's other things we can help you with. Nightshades, not everyone has issues with nightshades, but they're like tomatoes, potatoes, eggplant, peppers. Those also have lectin in them, which can create that leaky gut syndrome. So if you overindulge in those foods, maybe like a lot of salsa, tomato sauce, things like that, it's very acidic on the body as well. So that actually can create more of that leaky gut. So these are just things that a lot of times we haven't even heard of before. They're not the typical stuff we would know is bad for us. So kind of look at how that, and you can see the connection. It talks about arthritis and joint pain, some stiffness, GERD. And I've had people come in our program, and as they start to eliminate those things, a lot of these problems go away. So it's pretty cool to watch. As far as the healthy foods, so yeah, let's talk about the animal products. So if you do like your meat sources, again, we want those grass-fed, we want those free-range. We don't want those antibiotics, as I already said. We want to make sure that you're eating wild-caught fish, not farm-raised fish. You know, you think about it, anytime you have animals, whether it be pigs or chickens or cows or fish, in very small quarters, they're ingesting each other's feces. It's just not healthy, the environment. Plus, they're getting fed food that is helping them grow quickly, which is not necessarily what we want to be ingesting. So that's just something else. That could be a very simple tweak for you, is to change your fish from, you know, farm to wild. So then also the good fats. Let's talk about those. Extra virgin olive oil, fantastic for your body. You actually don't want to heat olive oil, because that also changes the molecular structure. You want to keep that on a cold, like on a salad dressing type thing. Coconut oil is another great source of a good fat. Avocados, nuts, seeds. I'm sure you've heard many of these things, but you'd be surprised as you start to clean your body out, your body starts to crave those things, which is really cool when you start to see that change in you. I have a client I was just working with who was talking about the fact that she was doing our Greens First product, which is a lot of vegetables, but they're in a powder form. But she stopped taking them for a couple weeks, and all of a sudden she actually started craving broccoli. And I said, whoever says that they crave broccoli? Like, don't we all want to reach a stage where we're actually wanting that really good, healthy stuff? So, fermented foods, sauerkraut, kimchi. Is there anyone here who likes that? Has tried it? It's good stuff. I know. I did a beet sauerkraut the other day. That was like fantastic. You don't have to make it yourself if you don't want. A lot of the like Whole Foods and Sprouts, they make them for you, and they're really good quality. Bone broth, that's one that you can make a bone broth yourself. You can literally go on Pinterest or YouTube and get a video on how to make it. I have a great recipe for it as well. You can go buy the beef broth bones, or you can do chicken bones or turkey bones. And the whole idea is when you are keeping that on your stove for like a 36-hour period, just low boil, it's sucking all of that great marrow out into the water, and then that becomes your broth for the season. Great to be drinking through the winter season especially, because that's going to help with your immune system. And it's been a very weird flu season this year, so I'm really pushing this on my clients. Make sure you're taking your bone broth. You know, you can actually buy it in the stores pre-made if you want as well. Well, the ones in the stores are. That actually is true. Yeah, mine doesn't. I mean, I do a little bit of pink Himalayan salt in mine, but yeah, it's not the sodium that we know is not good for us. Spices and herbs. So turmeric, really good for your immune system. In fact, I was at Peet's Coffee yesterday, and they're promoting a whole line of coffees with turmeric in it right now, which I thought, well, that's interesting. You know, here's the winter time. I think it's gonna sell pretty well. We know that ginger and cinnamon are really good for the digestive system. Also, again, good for the immune system, but really helping you absorb and assimilate your food and help move it through properly, help get it to the parts of the body it's supposed to be going to. And then when I talked about healthy foods, healthy habits are equally as important. Remember, you've got that mind, body, spirit piece, and if it's a triangle, think of it this way: if only one corner is working well, but the other two aren't very balanced, it doesn't quite work. We need to make sure all corners are equal, and we need to put our focus on each of them. So getting enough sleep is a huge factor to healing. We know that, right? And most of us are a little bit sleep deprived because we're running around and we might be feel stressed out, or we have snoring husbands. No, I'm just kidding. You know, there's lots of different things that affect your sleep. Maybe it's because you're eating, maybe it's because you're eating too late at night. That's another thing. Our whole concept is to stop eating by about 8 o'clock at night. Your body needs that time afterwards to start healing through the night. Basically, it's like the garbage men have to come in. They've got to clear all the garbage out that we've put in through the day so that we can reset for the next day. But if you're eating at 8, 9, 10, 11 o'clock at night, especially really heavy, sugary, fried things, that's why you're going to wake up. You're going to be more lethargic than normal. Your body doesn't feel good. It might even feel a little swollen. So making these new habits makes a big difference. Sunshine, obviously this isn't the time of year for that so much. And it's a funny society we live in because we wear a lot of sunblock to avoid the sun, and yet we know we need it on some level. So vitamin D supplement, I think, is probably one of the things that you can do to help kind of boost your immune system, boost your energy, to keep you sort of out of that little doldrum depression mode. That actually D helps with that as well. Reducing stress. We offer a lot here for you. We have obviously our chiropractic care, acupuncture. We have great yoga classes which really help with stress. We have massage therapy, of course, which is fantastic. And then I also provide the Reiki. So there's quite a few things just right here at Lighthouse. But obviously, you know, doing anything for yourself, getting yourself out there moving, taking care of yourself, making sure because I call it self-love. Like, if we're not working on us, how are we good to everybody else, right? So when you take those moments for yourself, it's not about being selfish, it's about self-care. And there's a big difference in that, right? Eating locally and seasonally. I don't know if you know this, but Sacramento was voted the farm to fork capital for the United States, which is a pretty cool when you think about it. There's some amazing restaurants all downtown that are all the organic, you know, that again, all the types of foods we would benefit from. You can find a lot of restaurants down there. They're starting to integrate those more in this area. So eating out shouldn't be something that you should think is only about eating bad food. You can make some really great choices now. So, but eating local, eating seasonally, think about it. When you eat bananas that have been shipped in from Costa Rica is not terrible, but it's far still, Mexico, anywhere else way across the world or the nation, it takes a long time to transport them. So in order to transport them, they have to spray them with things. They have to keep them preserved so that they can make it to our grocery stores and we can eat them. So the more you eat locally, you know it's been quickly picked out in our fields, brought to our grocery stores, and you're getting the best quality. Yeah, and we're getting also the nutrients and the soil of what we're used to in our own community. So sometimes when you take foods in from other countries, you actually can develop allergies and different issues to that. So it's best to always try to eat seasonally and locally. And then supplementation. Dr. Ross talked a lot about the cellular detoxing. So one of the keys to cellular detox is hydration. We have to make sure that we hydrate those cells. We kind of plump them back up so we can flush the toxins out. So one of the ways that we do this, and it's a very simple thing that you can start doing at home, is you take pink Himalayan salt and trace minerals. We sell the trace minerals here. They're of a high quality. And the whole idea is as you're detoxing, that helps to keep you hydrated. So it just keeps pushing things out, but it also gives you that hydration level that you need. And we can assess for how hydrated you are. We have a body composition analysis machine, and that helps me look at where that level is for you and how much, how much work you might need to do to improve it. So once you start seeing those improvements, you'll actually feel better, you sleep better, you have more energy during the day, you're more clear-headed. So there's a lot of benefits to the detox and then the hydration piece. So where to start? So we have the 30-day detox, as Dr. Ross talked about, and this is our little detox system here. So it's really simple. There's two different bottles. One is an AM, one is a PM, and it's just loaded with a number of different herbs and supplements to really help push things through the body. But what we also provide with that is the coaching. So what that looks like is you would come in on day one and you get your product. You would get on the body composition analysis machine, and then I'm going to give you all that information I talked about, the grocery shopping lists, some of the materials on why, say, pink salts are better, or why do we do organic, a lot of that material so you can read through. I'm also going to give you a structure to follow for the month. A lot of people sometimes will take these products, but they'll not change a single other thing. They're still drinking a lot of coffee, they're doing alcohol, this, that. So I'll give you some guidelines. And then you'll come back in on day 15 because you'll probably be experiencing detox symptoms by then. And we need to be able to let you, I'm here to normalize what those are about, we're here to address what they are, and then you come back in on day 30, and then that's kind of your set point. So we know, you can see the improvement because you get to go on the body comp and do it 3 different times and watch how your body's hydrating and watch some weight come off, and even watch metabolically that your age is decreasing. You're becoming, more efficient. You're becoming younger, exactly. Who doesn't want that? So this is a great place to start. If you're not sure where you want to go and you're just looking to kind of, move past the holiday, maybe junk food eating and all that, and you just kind of want to clean out, this is a fantastic place to start. If you're looking for something even beyond that, we do offer our 64-day Chirothin program, and that actually is usually for people who want to lose maybe 20 pounds or more, detox their system, work on sugar cravings, kind of managing that. But it also is going to help you with balancing your hormones, and then also just getting that metabolic level even higher, burning at a more efficient level. So if either of these are of interest to you today, we can get you signed up front. If you do think you want to do the weight loss program, I do a free consultation. So you just need to sign up tonight for that, and you actually get $100 off the program.
How much is the program?
The program is $1,100, and what you get with that is you get the 64 days of coaching, so every day we're in touch. You get the body comp every 2 weeks. You're going to come in and do that. There is a manual, there's a cookbook, there's a food journal that you keep. And then there's a number of supplements you get, like a multivitamin, probiotics. Because after you do the detox, then you want to get those probiotics back in and keep that gut really healthy.
And you guys
yep, we have all of that here. Yeah, we have all of that here. So I would suggest if you're ready to start, then that would be a great place to start. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to just give us a call. Again, set up an appointment. That consultation, there's no charge for that. Is there anything you wanted to add?
No, I don't think so, unless people have questions about anything. We got a few more minutes.
I do have, yeah, go ahead.
I just wanted to mention one thing about those liver, gallbladder, and kidney flushes that he was talking about. Basically, sometimes we have our blood cholesterol will be high because our gallbladder has too many stones and can't process our fats, so they back up into the blood. So if cholesterol has been an issue for anyone, I would highly suggest doing the kidney one first, because you want to have your kidneys cleaned out really well before you flush your liver, gallbladder. We have both printouts up there for you. But it's really easy. You can do them. I think one is only 24 hours long. So, and I had a patient do it 2 weeks ago, and she got over 60 stones out
Wow.
of her liver and gallbladder.
Do we have a product here for that, or you just have the handout?
It's
Okay.
things you buy like Epsom salt, olive oil,
Got
grapefruit
it.
juice, really easy things
Simple.
that you can buy in the store.
That's great. Thank you. Go ahead.
Is there any complications if you have some kidney disease?
As far as doing I don't think, I've never heard of anyone having an issue
The
with
cellular
that.
detox?
Or no,
Or-
kidney detox?
No, definitely not with the kidney
No,
detox.
it would actually
Probably would help. It
It's-
makes sense.
They have a chronic protocol for people with kidney disease in that handout.
And those are up front.
Yes.
So let's definitely make sure if you need one of those handouts, we'll get those for you tonight. Also, I just want to mention Cheryl here, and she gave me her permission to mention this. She has been on the Chirothin program. She's on her second round. She's lost almost 40 pounds. But the reason I bring it up isn't just the weight loss, because that's a fantastic benefit of it. It's the fact that it's a changing lifestyle, right? And it's changing like your mindset. So you become more mindful of the way you're behaving in your everyday life, what you're putting in your mouth, how you're dealing with your stress. So I just want to first of all say congratulations, because I know it's been a big change, you know. Is there anything in particular that you have experienced that you wanted to just share with the group?
Oh my gosh, there's not enough time. There's so many changes. We gave us a lot of work, but it was natural food. I had my husband supported me, so that was very helpful. But I mean, that first 3 weeks, I did feel like I was sick, and my joints were
Yeah,
killing
the
me.
detox, yeah.
But I don't take any medication anymore. I have more energy than I know what to do with.
Oh my
I sleep 5 to 6 hours straight, and I haven't done that for 25 years. I don't have any heartburn anymore. And a lot of it I put down to the chiropractic care and
Yeah.
also. I'm kind of doing it's not just this, but I was having terrible, I needed surgery in a couple of places. That's done. I don't need that. I'm healthier than I've been for 25, 30 years, and I just feel like I have a whole new lease on life. And I don't know why it took so, I mean, the only thing is I just don't know why it took so long to make the decision to do it. I wished I had not waited. Congratulations. So
Life
if
changing.
anybody's thinking they're tired of feeling like they can't bend over and breathe,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
you know, the things that your life is so limited when you're 30, 40 pounds overweight, you don't realize how limited it is.
Yeah.
And I would just encourage you to really ask yourself, 42 days, it's nothing in the big picture.
Yeah.
And now you want to eat like that. You look at that plate and go, oh my gosh, you're crazy, God. I mean, the colors, the flavors, without any, I mean, it's just amazing. It
Yeah.
is, it's the best
Yeah.
night.
And the point you made is whole food. So
Yeah.
that's the thing for any time you're doing a detox or changing your lifestyle. When you do real whole food, a lot of the programs that are out there are always going to try to sell you packaged foods and
It's never
shakes
enough.
and all that. And well, it just, you can't sustain it. And I think that's the thing
This
is,
very sustainable.
yeah, learning how to eat from day one the way food you actually eat,
Right.
that you'll just continue to eat the rest of your life. So there's a big difference, I think, when you do it that way. So
I've tried so many. There isn't a plan out there I haven't tried. Like, and you can't stick with it, but this you can, because
Yeah.
you have to eat, and these foods are very easy to prepare. They're
yeah, right, because they're your
my
choices.
Grocery bill,
Yeah.
I think the cost of the program, but my grocery bill, we're eating better than we have ever eaten, and we're still not spending the kind of money we were
Yeah,
with all the fast food and
right. See, big difference if you're not eating out as often, and yeah,
all the
good,
restaurants. And,
wonderful.
yeah, so I'm grateful.
Do you
Beautiful.
want to come up and say anything else?
Yeah, so in kind of closing, the one thing that I always tell people with my talks is it's awesome. You get motivated, you learn some new things. Hopefully you got your brain churning, but that's nothing. That equates to absolutely nothing. You got to do something. You got to take some action step. One thing, it may be something that we can help you with, or maybe something you do on your own. The cleanse, for example, you can buy the cleanse, just the box, just by itself. It's $55, and you can do your own thing. We give you the sheet on kind of the guidelines of it. So if you want to do it on your own, you can do it on your own. Or if you want our help and you want to go through the scans and get the coaching, which makes that much more of a difference, then you can sign up for that. If you want to do the gallbladder cleanse or the kidney cleanse, we can give you the information on that. There's no charge, there's no specific product. If you want to just start, if you've never taken vitamin D, for example, we can start you on that. We can get you, going so that you're getting the vitamin D, which makes a big effect on your immune system, and then also on your bones, and keeps your bones strong, that kind of stuff. Getting on fish oil is a big one. Just getting fish oil is huge, because it will help lower your cholesterol. Will also help clean out your arteries to some degree. It helps rebalance. If you're a meat eater, it helps rebalance some of the commercial meats that you're undoubtedly getting. So these are easy things, but you got to take the first steps. I know many of you are patients, so you've probably already taken some of the first steps, but take something that you learned here and do it. Whether it be a 30-day plan, or whether you put something into plan, or whether you say, well, I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to talk to that trainer. Awesome. But do something, make something happen, go a different path, or try a new path that you've never done before, and get some new results. And then check back in with us. We do talks here approximately every couple months on all sorts of different topics. So, come on in and learn some new things and go on a new path and stay motivated, all that kind of stuff.